already explained dopamine, which was a fantastic explanation. I want to reiterate that. I read a book a few years ago and it got so depressed that I only read the first three chapters. So I need to go back and read it again. But I believe the title was Dopamine Nation. And it talked about how we are so overstimulated with dopamine, whether it's, like you said, gambling, sugar, opening my phone. Do I have notifications? Who commented on my Twitter tweet? You know what I mean? Like there's so much stimulation that our body does something called down regulation. Can you talk a little bit about dopamine and how our body down regulates it?
Yeah, absolutely. I know exactly which book you mean. And I've studied dopamine since 1985 when I was in treatment. I learned about the dopamine research already at that time. First of all, I like to point out that dopamine is the conductor in the symphony of neurotransmitters. So it's not all about dopamine. It's just the initiator. And then you have endorphins, you have adrenaline, you have noradrenaline, you have GABA, you have acetylcholine, you have other neurotransmitters that are affected by this dopamine, ripple in your brain. Think about it as a pendulum. Dopamine senses, should it be gas or brake, gas pedal or brake. So then it sends, the ripple through the brain to all those different, if it is a downer or an upper. So let's stick with that for a while. So you have to understand that it's more than dopamine affected in your brain. Then something happens that it's not talked about a lot today. The way I was trained and taught this, which I think is very important to understand, is it's going to be an upregulation. Your body is so smart and it strives for homeostasis all the time to keep in balance. You do a lot of stupid things and your body is there. Oh my God, now he's doing this. Oh, now he's doing this. We have to counteract, blood pressure, pulse, heartbeat, everything. Your body is always trying to balance. That's what homeostasis is. Beautiful. You are a magic thing. Every cell in you are magic. So anyway, what's going to happen is that when you start taking a psychoactive substance and you have this genetic sensitivity, maybe small or big, or you are in a culture where you're flooded with the drug, or maybe just a little, that combination is hard to see. Is it 30% or 70%, or we can never know that. But anyway, so then when you start taking something and your dopamine gonna kickstart that pendulum, up and down, and you get the kick and the high and the down and the relaxation and all that. What's going to happen is that your brain going to say, oh my goodness, we don't have enough receptors for all this neurotransmitter flooding that is caused here. So we're going to make more receptors. That is upregulation, okay? Because the brain is smart. It has to counteract this stuff. And then you keep taking the drug. And the way it works is that every time you have a release of neurotransmitter, some die, they are, breaks down. That's the way we work. They breaks down and you have to make new ones. People that are doing drugs, sugar is one, they don't live very healthy. And you need to eat a lot of protein in order to make new dopamine. You have to have a good microbiome, your normal flora. So of course you don't have that. So it's going to come a day when you keep eating sugar and and suddenly your brain going to say, oh my goodness, now I have too much receptors, which causes a horrible craving, and not enough dopamine and endorphins and GABA and all that. So wait a minute, we need to block some off. Okay, so now that's the down regulation. It has to block them off. How do you feel when that happens? Well, you're depressed, you have mood swings, you're irritated, you have what we call volatile blood sugar. Now your body cannot keep up the homeostasis anymore. You probably have insulin resistance. We could spend 4 hours just talking consequences from this on all levels in the body: physical, psychological, social, spiritual. You start losing yourself. We call it short, foggy brain. That's a miserable feeling. You're tired and wired. That's horrible. Okay. I used to say it's like having a Ferrari in the garage, you push on the gas pedal in the bottom, but it's screwed down to the floor. Ooh. Or you feel miserable and you're going to get disrupted sleep and disrupted stomach and all kinds of problems. And basically you're going to lose all your energy. So, everything is like climbing up Mount Everest, no oxygen, 40 kilos of packing, no help, no Sherpa. So now you're in bad shape, right? But here is also the difficult thing where you are more into drug seeking behavior. You want something that's going to fix this problem, with having foggy brain and being miserable, but you have this horrible craving, because the more the effect goes down, the higher the craving go. See what I mean? So now you are on this weird thing, eating, although you get sick from it, but you can't stop. And not everybody get overweight, but many get very overweight, and you still can't stop. And that horrible feeling inside of you, knowing that you're doing this to yourself, but you are driven by this crazy biochemistry that is totally out of whack in your brain. And you keep doing these things, and that's a horrible feeling. You try to find reasons, excuses, solutions, but unless you really know about your addiction and learn about the biochemistry in the brain, you cannot fix this problem. You need professional help to understand what addiction is all about, how your whole brain has been upregulated, downregulated, all the consequences, so we can start working on healing you. And I always say to my clients, it takes about 18 to 24 months for your brain to heal. And you should not do any therapy during that part. You should only learn to live one day at a time, with routines, and be rigorous, but not rigid, because perfectionism is going to throw you right back into the dieting again. So this is what a lot of people don't understand, that it takes a long time to rewire your brain, because your brain has faulty wiring. I used to say that it's like the most beautiful castle in the world. All the electricity, all the cords are drawn, but there is no cream in them. You see what I mean? It's only cream in your reward center and your reptilian brain. That's drug. That's all that matters, And you are terrified giving up the drug because you think, I'm going to die. I can't live without this. But, so you have to take away the drug, and you have to rebuild your brain in order to rebuild your body, and start creating new neurons, new connections, and you have to rewire your brain. And that's a tough thing. So, some people are like, I can't do it. I'm not going to even start because I can't handle it. So, I wish there were treatment centers that could work according to this model, where people could stay 6 to 8 weeks and be pampered and fed good food. So, all these negative effects going to drain away, and they're going to start getting their energy and their joy and vivacious life back, and then go out and do it. But think about it. You have to do this all by yourself. Maybe you can afford some support once a week and go to a support group. And people are going to tell you you're crazy. You could eat in moderation, which is a white unicorn. But you see what I mean? You have kids, you work, you might not have a lot of money to spend on this. Talk about uphill.
Wow.
And this is what hurts me so much, to see so many people needing this, wanting this, but it is such a hurdle to get over. So, all the strength to all of you that fights out there, but please seek support. Join a support group that can, help you, and stay away from coaches that tell you to have a beach 23 vision this summer, or think about 3 months down the road you could lose the weight. I tell you what, it's all about 24 hours. It's only one day at a time. That's all you can handle and do. And if you can really stop your mind from thinking about 2 days from now and think, I shall only do this for today, and I'm going to seek support. And only for today, seek support. For today, seek support. Then you have a chance to fix this.